Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment as we still don't know what the hell the Tennessee Titans are. I mean, the only thing that I can really say is that this was a divisional game, and divisional games can be a little wonky. Upsets happen in divisional games all the time. It's one of the reasons why the Colts had even the 4 wins that they had last year, why the Texans had, what was it, 3 or 4 wins that they had last year. Because 1 or 2 games in the division for them, I think it was against the Jags. Both of them, I think, beat the Jags. Weird things happen. It's a game in which the other team doesn't play the way that they should and normally does because they're a familiar opponent, they're a rival, and things just go weird. Now, with that said, this game is still very winnable, and we're going to get down to the specific plays in which lost us the game. But the overwhelming thing to me was the awful run defense, and that's shocking. I mean, that is absolutely shocking. I had no idea that we actually were on a 20-game streak of not allowing a 100-yard rusher. That was surprising, but then when you thought about it, you were like, oh, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was like, oh, that's a good stat, but now it's broken because running back Zach Moss, who was still getting the bulk of the carries today despite the return of Jonathan Taylor after his contract dispute, decided to run for over 160 yards. He finished with 23 carries, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he could not be stopped. In fact, I'm shocked that they even stopped him on the last drive, but he basically went up the field anyway. They would have went for on a 4th down. Who knows? He probably gets it anyway. I mean, I cannot believe how soft we were inside. I'm going to look at the tape. The 2 obvious names that everyone's going to call out and should is Jack Gibbons and Azeez Al-Shire, our 2 inside linebackers. They could not shed blocks today. They could not get past the offensive line today at all. It was awful. Or tight ends, for that matter. It was really, really, really bad. It was shockingly bad. I even had to call out Jeffrey Simmons because there were opportunities for him to shed blocks and get Zach Moss down or better position himself. He didn't do that. I mean, when you give up this sort of rushing defense effort, 193 yards, 5.7 a pop, and the longest one was only 56. So we're talking just consistently getting 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, again and again and again. That's on the entire defense to me, except for maybe the corners. But even then, the corners sometimes are to blame for that. So I can't believe it. After what a dominating performance last week against Cincinnati, allowing 3 to Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, they allow this. 1 was at home, 1 was on the road against a division opponent. That's my only analysis. Or maybe there was food poisoning with the team food last night. Maybe whatever, the team food was on the plane was poison, and the defense, their side of it was poison, the offense wasn't. That's it. That's the only explanation I have for you. I've never seen that this team play like this poorly against a run in a while, in years. This was shockingly bad. It was awful. It was awful. And we know that Azeez Al-Shire and Jack Gibbons have not been full-up starters in the NFL up to this point. This is the opportunity for them to prove themselves. And they have been playing well up to this point, particularly Jack Gibbons. He threw that all away. All of it, basically. I mean, I'll give him some slack, but basically all of it was thrown away today with this porous run defense. So there was that. And then there's also Christian Fulton, who needs to be benched. Christian Fulton needs to be benched at this point. Benched. He needs to be on the bench. He needs to sit on the bench. That's where he needs to be. And then next year, he needs to be on the first flight out of Tennessee. He needs to be out of here. He needs to be gone. I'm done with Christian Fulton. And he played well last week. But this was near mutiny level play from Christian Fulton. Near mutiny. He was playing so bad, I was convinced that he's playing this bad because he wants us to lose right now. He is playing this bad because he's giving up on this team and he wants us to lose. That's what I was convinced of. Convinced. 100% and entirely convinced. It was that bad. I think when you sit down and look at it, so they had, let's see, total 236 passing yards. I assume, if you combine the pass interferences, it's definitely over 100. I assume it's just under 100 yards that he actually allowed, like let's say 80, maybe 90. But if you combine the pass interference calls, it's over 100, maybe over 150 that this guy allowed today. And it was just shockingly poor effort at times, poor positioning. On the last one, the Alec Pierce one, what are you doing? He just ran into him. Of course they're going to call that, unless if you're just hoping that they didn't see you. Why are you doing that? It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy what we saw from Christian Fulton. I still can't really believe it. I think he's just done. I think he quit. I think he's out. So, I mean, hopefully maybe we get Caleb Farley back on the field or something, but we don't even know if Farley can cover. We don't know what the hell Farley is. I don't even know why he made the team, to be honest with you, at this point, other than him just still being a former first round pick. So that was also bad. So he's going to be caught out specifically. So the whole defense stunk. I mean, I don't know if there was one real, maybe Roger McCreary. He had a couple of plays. So he might be, and Sean Murphy-Bunting. I always give the corner some slack, some. Although, I mean, you look at the passing stats again, we give up 20 of 26 to 236 yards. And this is a game in which Anthony Richardson went out. Now, when he went out, I was like, well, up to this point, Gardner Minshew is giving them the best chance to win. I'm not saying that's going to continue to be the case, but as Anthony Richardson develops in his career, that's been the case. So I was not particularly afraid of Anthony Richardson as opposed to Minshew. When Minshew came in, I was like, oh, great. Now this guy's actually going to pick apart our defense the way Anthony Richardson really was. And he had the one deep pass down the field at the left side, which was really nice. That was a sweet throw. But outside of that, he wasn't really scaring me. So when Minshew came in, I knew, hey, we're still in trouble. This guy's diced us up before, and he diced us up appropriately today. And by the way, the Colts, this is why, look, I don't want to harp on him. I don't know exactly what his injury is, but this is why I wanted no part of the Anthony Richardson experiment. If you're just going to run these guys, they're going to get hurt. Cam Newton can only do it for so long, and he was a freak. Lamar Jackson is good about getting out of the way. But they're literally running Anthony Richardson like a running back. And Jalen Hurts is an absolute physical specimen. So that's why I think he hasn't gotten hurt either. But eventually it's going to happen. So the Colts, I mean, it's too late now. You already took him. And if you were going to take him, it's because you're going to run him. Because you're not taking him as a thrower. Well, again, the beautiful throw down the left sideline. And it was absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. 100%. He's not going to be able to do that consistently. So if they want to use him, they're going to have to run him. And if they're going to run him, stuff like this is going to happen because now it's a knee that he's had this year and a shoulder. And this is only year one. And this is only 5 weeks into year one. So let's see how this Anthony Richardson experiment is going to go. But they swung for the fences, and this is why I didn't. This is why I was out on Anthony Richardson, except for maybe the second round. But in the first round, it was a hell no. Even at 11, it was a hell no. They took him 4. Jesus Christ. Desperation by Jim Irsay and the Colts. Well, they won anyway, and they're 3-2, but it's not because of him. It's not because of him. And this goes to show, by the way, this is what happens when you build an offensive line. This Colts offensive line did struggle last year, but they're playing back up to par. Quentin Nelson's playing back up to par. Braden Smith, they were missing their left tackle today, but they have some good backup behind them that was starting as well, so he wasn't sorely missed. They just whooped our asses in the trenches, man. It was bad. I mean, it was shockingly bad. They just bullied us. And usually we're the bulliers. We bullied last week. Usually we're the bullies. We got bullied this week. Why? Other than it just being a divisional opponent, why? I think it's just sometimes when we go into Lucas Oil Stadium, we just shrivel up. We get ED, and we're not able to perform. I mean, that's just the only, we get PTSD, we get ED, we get EDP. I don't know what it is that we get whenever we go to Lucas Oil Stadium. This is why, again, and I said this before the year, I have us losing to the Colts. I have us losing to the Jaguars. This is a year where we're going, and also to the Texans. This is the year we're going to lose to those two teams. So when you're saying win, 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 stop it. Because I know this team. And if you're a fan, you should know this team too. If we're not world beaters, and even if we are, but if we're not world beaters, we're going to lose to the Colts and we're going to lose to the Houston Texans or the Jaguars, all of them. Really, usually all of them. I mean, it's rare. I don't think we've gone 5-1 in our division in at least a decade, probably even 15 years. And then 4-2, I think we've done it twice. Like literally maybe twice in the last 15 years. 15 years. We're going to lose to the Texans, we've lost to the Colts, and we're going to lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's the occasional year where we could sweep one of them or they sweep one of us. Very occasional. I don't bet on that. Only in like the era maybe where Peyton Manning was here, then they had more sweeps against us, usually. But, and I mean like in the later half, not when Steve McNair was here. But we're going to lose to them. So those are 3 losses right there. Okay, period. I'm not listening to it. We already have one here. There's 2 more coming down the pipe. The Texans are being competitive. We're going to lose to them. So just be prepared for it. I don't know if it's going to be here or if it's going to be in Houston. If I had a bet, they're a little more advanced right now than I thought they'd be. And let me see when we actually face them. So we face them, it's later in the year. This is weeks 14 and 16. I don't know. One of them, we're going to lose. We're going to lose the game. We're going to lose the game, especially with the way C.J. Stroud is playing. We're going to lose the game. So I don't want anyone to be surprised when we lose the game. So look, here we are. So, but let's go to the offense. So offensively, Tannehill played well. I mean, this is an A. I'm gonna say, is it A or A minus? I'll go A minus because there were some points I thought he could have got the ball out quicker and had some better pocket movement. His pocket movement isn't great. I think like the 1 sack he took in this game, I thought he could have got out of the pocket or at least moved around. So I'll give him A minus. He does the interception and woof. By the way, good luck explaining to everyone. Now, I'm not going to blame him for this. I know the stat line really comes from one game. However, the game still exists. Good luck to explaining to everyone why Ryan Tannehill is still our starter, which he deserves to be. But why he's still our starter when they look at his stat line and they see 2 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Because that's what everyone's going to see. So just be prepared for that. Okay? When you hear Commander fans or Texans fans or Jaguar fans asking, why are they still starting Tannehill? He has 2 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Because that's what he has. Now, his overall play this season has been a B+. If it wasn't for the terrible game week 1, it'd be A-. But he had a terrible game week 1. And it still harpers his entire stat line. So there you go. You have that. But yeah, I thought he played well. So let's talk about the run game. Because the run game is now becoming a topic of conversation. Is Derrick Henry washed? Now, no! Hello? Literally last week, people. Literally last week. He had 22 carries for 122 yards and a touchdown and a passing touchdown. What are we talking about? You almost had a passing touchdown on this one. But, yeah, you do have to block for him. Duh. We know this. Everyone should know this. But if Aaron Brewer and Daniel Brunskill and Chris Hubbard and Andre Dillard don't want to do that, and it's not Skoronski's strong suit either, then guess what? He's not going to be able to run. We brought Trevon Wesco in here to block. He can't block. Chico Conquo's not that much better of a blocker. We can't block. So Derrick Henry's going to have a 1,200-yard year, maybe, and that's going to be it. Which isn't bad last I checked. I mean, last I checked, that's pretty damn good. It's just like we've gotten used to 15 freaking 100 yards at least. So he's going to have a 1,200-yard year. Not bad. It's not bad. But block for him, which leads us into the Tim Kelly play. So inexplicably, Tim Kelly decides to run the ball with Derrick Henry at the 4th and 1 position when we were in the red zone in the 4th quarter with about 6 minutes to go. This was a delayed handoff and a handoff in the shotgun. and a handoff right to DeForest freaking Buckner. What the hell were you thinking? Running into DeForest Buckner, an all-pro level defensive tackle in the league, in a 4th-and-1 situation, a delayed handoff from the shotgun. You're going to hand the ball off into DeForest Buckner. Have you lost your mind? How stupid is that? Outside of that, I thought he called a pretty good game. I liked we were finally getting the explosive Tannehill and Henry connection, which I will admit, I did not see DeAndre Hopkins having one game like this the entire year heading into the year. I thought this was not going to happen. 140 yards for him and 8 catches. If you would have told me 140 yards in one game this year, I would have said, no, I'll take the under on that. Not in one game this year. He already has one already. So he's probably going to end up being a 1,000-yard wide receiver this year. In fact, I can almost guarantee he's on pace right now for, let's see what the pace is. The pace before this game is going to give me, and then I can do a quick analysis to tell you what it's going to be. So he was on pace for 918. After this game, it's going to be like 1,100 or something. He's probably going to break 1,000. We'll see, because, you know, with this Traylon Burks situation, Jesus, man, this guy was out again. Man, that's a problem. But he stepped up in his stead. So everyone that was claiming for DeAndre Hopkins and why we need him, well, this game you were right. Because without him, we wouldn't have had a chance in hell. Okay, Vince McMahon, no chance in hell. You got. Okay, that's what it would have been. It would have been bad. But Tyjae Spears, you saw his electric touchdown run. You saw him making catches. He's a nice weapon, finally. After years, after a decade, really, because screw, although I like him, Dion Lewis and Dexter McCluster and Darrington Evans and Javon Ringer and Antonio Andrews and all of those guys. None of them are even showing close to what Tyjae Spears is giving us as a backup running back. Now, unfortunately, it's a little too late. If you could add someone like this with Henry 2 years ago, oh my God. Now, that would have been scary, son. Although, okay, yes, Deontay Foreman played well whenever Henry got hurt. But that's not what I'm talking about. Oh, and also, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Who was the guy that we always used to hit? That Tannehill used to love throwing touchdowns to. That running back. Oh, I'm forgetting his name now. I want to say Hubbard, but that doesn't sound right. Hold on, that's gonna bother me. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Wasn't Hilliard? Yeah, Dontrell Hilliard. But this is better than that. This is far better than that. When what we're getting from Tyjae Spears, you see the burst, you see what he's providing us. And he's going to be fun to watch, you know, for years to come. So at least we have that going for us. No sign of Kyle Phillips today. Which I think he got like one maybe pass attempt towards him. So he's still a ghost as far as I'm concerned until he does anything. But I mean, they keep giving him snaps. I mean, eventually this guy's going to do something again outside of that now infamous 6 catches for 66 yards opener against the New York Giants, which is ever so long ago at this point. But so that was nice to see as well. Or I guess I don't know if it was nice to see, but I guess it's nice to see at least out there doing things. Chigo Conco, another bad drop today. What was that? I don't know what's going on with this guy, but his ascension has been greatly exaggerated. He'll be lucky to break 500 yards this year as a starting tight end in the league. So, I mean, he probably will just because, the volume will likely be there, especially if Burks keeps getting hurt. But, yeah, Conco, you've been a disappointment this year, dog. We got to keep it $150. So that's going on there. Wiley had a catch today, and it was a nice catch to see him. Nice to see him getting involved. And Wesco did have a catch. I'll give him that. While I'm convinced he can't block, and I'm not convinced he can do much of anything, he at least had that. So, ultimately, we're right back where we started. 89 or 98, guys. I mean, that's just what this team is, man. That's just what it is. The only thing that's like keeping me going is just like, okay, let's just continue to have at this point like a winning culture. That way, as we transition from Tannehill to whoever it's gonna be, that winning culture is still here because we're obviously not going to tank, right? I mean, I think that's pretty obvious at this point. So now, next week, we go across the pond. We face the Ravens in London. By the way, I will not be able to recap that game because I am actually going to be on vacation. I will be in San Diego for a friend's vacation. Now, when I come back, I will be able to, but I don't come back until late Monday, early Tuesday. At that point, I don't know who's going to care. But I think I'll just do a recap anyway because I think some of you will actually care what I think about that game. But I'm not even going to be able to catch it. I mean, the game's going to be at 6:30. I'm going to try my best to catch as most of it as I can, but I have a busy packed schedule doing a lot of things that weekend, so I'm not really going to be sure about that. And then afterwards is the bye week. So this is going to be my last game recap for a while. Oh, and then after that, actually, I might switch that up. Yeah, I might switch that up. I think that'd be better. After that, it's my birthday weekend, and I may not be here, but I may be here. I might change my mind. I might change my mind because that's a lot of game recaps to miss in a row. I don't want to miss that many game recaps in a row. I'm supposed to go on another vacation, but I might move to like November. I think that'd be better. Yeah, I think that'd be better. But we'll see. We'll see on that front. We have a super chat that I want to get to. And then some other comments as usual. Then we will get out of here. Oh, someone in the chat mentioned David Fluellen. That's another Titans running back goat. We have a lot of Titans running back goats. All right, this comes from Kicker to the King Productions. What's up, Joshua? Says the following: Get Fulton out of here. Tim Kelly play calling was sus. Vrabel got out coached. And the cherry on top, number 17 interception wasn't the reason for the L. One touchdown the whole game. It's been over 637 days since we scored 28. Wow, I didn't know it's been that long. That's ridiculous. Thanks for the super chat. I was fine with Tim Kelly's play calling. I mean the 4th and 1 call was bad, which I've discussed. That was bad. But when we started linking with DeAndre Hopkins, that was good. The only thing I could say is I think we should establish Henry more early, particularly in this game where we were doing well. I mean, the first drive we had went well, and then the only thing that stalled that drive was why did we end up getting that field goal? Let me see the play-by-play. I'm already forgetting what happened on that drive. If I remember correctly, it was, I think we got like a penalty. Yeah, we got the Chigo Conco offensive pass interference on that one, which then backed us up. And then, which anyway, he dropped it anyway. Tannehill threw it short of the sticks anyway. So the pass interference didn't even matter. I saw some people complaining about it, but I was like, well, it didn't even matter. So yeah, it didn't. Yeah, so there was that one. And then we had, yeah, the concurrent drives after that. I thought our offense was fine. I think the only thing I can really complain about is, I don't know. I'd have to watch the tape. I think Tannehill sometimes just doesn't push the ball down the field enough in terms of the red zone, trying to get it into the end zone. Like, I think when we go down to the red zone, he needs to throw balls into the end zone. He doesn't do that enough. He's way too fine taking little check downs and little hitches and stuff, and then getting a 3rd and 5 or a 3rd and 4, at the 9, and then doing it again or doing something. But I don't think we do enough shots into the end zone. And he tried one to Nick Westbrook-Keenan. It was poorly thrown. And I don't know why. Yeah, this is why he's getting A-. Every game this season, this guy, he has to have a throw. Like, again, he tried to fit it over the top to Nick Westbrook-Keenan, underthrown, almost picked off when Nick Westbrook-Keenan had to play corner. So I don't know why every week, and this one wasn't even from that far out. It was like maybe from 30 yards out. So he definitely had the arm for this one. I don't know why he keeps trying to make those throws. But yeah, outside of that though, yeah, I think our play calling was fine. I think it was fine. I think maybe in the red zone we could be a little more creative. But the Ty J. Spears touchdown was pretty creative, and we scored on that play. So Yeah, but the fourth one was bad though. That one was bad. That one was bad. That one was really, really, really bad. And I don't know what the hell he was thinking there, other than just the logic of get it to Henry. Okay, we would have been more fine with you doing that, lining up in an I formation and doing that, than what the hell we got. Because what the hell we got was what the hell was that? I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous what we got there. But thank you for the super chat. Kick it to the King Productions. Let's see any other comments that I want to get to. Adam Weber or Weber, I believe, says Chick is not a starting caliber tight end in the NFL. It's definitely not a good one. As of this moment, I thought he was going to be a good one. I thought he was going to be top half. Not yet. Let's see. Dylan Clayton says tank for Caleb Williams. Too late for that. We already have 2 wins. And again, while we're going to lose to the Texans and we're going to lose to the Jaguars, we're going to beat them too. And the Colts. So those are 3 wins that we're going to get. So we're going to have at least 5 wins. We're still going to face the Panthers who stink. We're still going to face the Bucs who stink. You know what's crazy about our schedule? For those of you that still want to be super excited, and it's not that I'm not excited. Like, if we make the playoffs, yay. I'm not saying I don't want to make the playoffs. But you know the stupid thing about this schedule? This would have been such a nice year to have a good team because our schedule stinks. The Ravens are the second best team we're going to face all year, in my estimation. Maybe the Jaguars. Because we face the Ravens in a neutral field next week. Then the only difficult games, truly difficult games that we have, at Pittsburgh, at Jacksonville, at Miami, and versus Seattle. But only 4, that's not bad. But I'm guaranteeing we're going to beat the Jags once, we're going to beat the Texans once, and we're going to get revenge against the Colts. That's 3 wins right there. I can almost guarantee we'll beat the Panthers. I feel very comfortable saying that. And then of the Falcons, Bucs, and then maybe the Ravens, there's going to be like another win, 5. Like I have like 8-9, 9-8 right now. Best case scenario to me is 9-8. Maybe 10-7 if, so we face some teams that end up getting edged. And I think we're losing to Seattle. I think we're losing next week to Baltimore, most likely, but it depends. I don't like the Baltimore loss today, so they're going to be a little more desperate, but they're injured right now. So if there's any time to beat them, it's now. And as we've seen with the Titans, they lose, they win, they lose, they win, they lose. 0-5 for me picking Titans games this year. I got to buck the trend, and I just got to believe the rhythm and just pick us to win next week, man, even though I don't want to. I really don't want to. But I might. I really, really might, because the more I think about it, the Ravens did not look very good today. In a divisional game, though, in a huge divisional rivalry, which is, again, Ravens aren't. And I think the Steelers are better than some people think. I have the Steelers making the playoffs this year. I had it before the year. I have it now. I've been consistent on that. So now the Bucs are better than we thought. We go at Tampa. We'll see. I'm not buying it. I'm not shaking in my boots. The only game I'm shaking my boots, there's 2 games. Versus Seattle and at Miami. Yeah, we're going to lose those games. As long as they're still healthy. The Seahawks are a Super Bowl contender to me. I know some people aren't ready to say that. I've been ready to say that. I've had them winning the division over the 49ers. Is that going to happen? Okay, now I don't think so. But I think it's going to be NFC Championship, though. I think it's going to be Seahawks 49ers NFC Championship. And then we'll see how they're playing at this point. Or at that point, I should say. So the schedule's still very manageable. We're still very much stuck in the middle. Baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle? Because that's obviously the type of team that we are. And until further notice, that's the team that we're going to see. So week to week, you don't know what to expect. I mean, just because I'm expecting us to win next week, I have us now lose next week. I have us winning next week. I mean, this is the only thing that makes sense. But the biggest takeaways to me, Fulton's done here. I bench him. I try to find a corner out there on the market. J.C. Jackson was out there, but his contract was horrible. So, yeah, you didn't want to make that deal. But he cannot continue to start. He absolutely cannot continue to start. That would be absolutely absurd. Sport Tackler said at Sportsman Statement, where are you picking a corner in next year's draft? Would you rather spend money on one? See, because we still may need a left tackle, and I think the quarterback conversation is tabled for now. I would rather take a tackle and then maybe a corner in the second, or spend on a corner. So I don't want to spend on another tackle because we're paying Dillard, and I mean, I think his contract doesn't have that much dead cap next year. Let's look at Andre Dillard's contract, shall we? Let's take a look over there and see what that contract looks like. So Andre Dillard, 3 years, $29 million. But how much of that $13 million guaranteed? If we cut him next year, it's a dead cap of $7 million. And then let me see. Let's do a quick look-sees. Let's see the free agent tackles and free agent corners, and let's see who's going to be out there. Let's just, because we're curious, let's go ahead and take a look. So offensive tackles, and let's look at all tackles, because you never know. Some of these right tackles end up being signed as left tackles. So we have Tyron Smith, Andres P., Dwayne Brown. Wait, is Tyron Smith still even like? Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I don't know if he's probably might just retire. I don't know what they're gonna do. He's been playing actually. Oh, okay, never mind. Good to know. Wait, hold on. Let me check something here. Yeah, but other names we have for, did I go offensive line? Why are they giving me guards on this list? This list is pretty bad. Yeah, so we have like Jonah Williams, Donovan Smith, former Super Bowl champion, but I don't know. He's not playing that well for the Chiefs right now. George Fant. Not many impressive names as tackles you can get next year. Trent Brown. So do not like the tackles. If you look at corners for next year, also let me look at. And Tyron Smith is only 32. He's not even that old. Well, maybe he can't come in here then. Never mind. GG, I take that back. What happened to their, they're not starting. Oh, did he get injured? I think he got injured. Their other tackle that they took in the first round. What happened to that guy? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up later. What happened to that guy? Hold on. Cowboys 2020. Tyler Smith, where'd he go? Oh, they have my guard. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, interesting. I didn't know they were playing him at guard. I haven't been watching the Cowboys. In fact, I avoid the Cowboys because they just get pushed down our throat so damn much. So corners, we have Adoree Jackson. Yeah, not gonna happen. We have Kendall Fuller. Yeah, Michael Davis of the Chargers. CJ Henderson, who's kind of having a resurgence in Atlanta, but not really. Marcus Peters. The corners are not great either. So we are pretty screwed when it comes to next year's free agent market when you're talking about either corners or tackles. So that's exciting. That's something to look forward to. We're just going to have to draft those positions. So go ahead and look forward to that. Oh, also Stephon Gilmore. But I mean, he's just a 1-year rental. If you want to get him for a year, he's playing very well. But I mean, at this point, he's 33. Like, you're only signing for a 1-year rental if that's really what you want to do. But that doesn't solve your issues or problems there. So, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. All right. So there you go. Tennessee Titans fail to get it done. They get defeated by the Indianapolis Colts, 23-16. It sucks losing to the Colts, man. You know the Colts are going to come with the trash talk, but try to avoid the forums as much as possible. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.